Hey guys, and welcome back. So today I'm going to share with you how I went about budgeting and planning for our family cruise that we are taking this Christmas. But first, let me give you guys a little bit of history. So we are a family of 6, 7 when you include Lola the pug. And at the time when I decided to start planning and really just looking into taking a cruise was at the end of 2015. Now at this time also, the hubby had just gotten laid off, so he was out of work. So we were essentially on one income, and that was just the income from the daycare. Well, anyways, I started planning then in 2015 and kind of looking at options for cruises and seeing what the cost would be and all that stuff there. So at that time, for the end of 2015 going into the top of 2016, I had estimated our net income at about $65,000. That's what we would have taken home after taxes and all that stuff there. So again, I just like to give you guys the details, a little bit of history, just because sometimes we can kind of get stuck in thinking that things are out of our reach because of our current position or situation and so on. How can I help you? Since you have that little muscle shirt on, don't come on this side of the camera, okay? Appreciate you. Maddie, she just got to come and see what I'm doing. You know how it is when you got kids. But anyways, yeah, so I started planning the cruise at the end of 2015, kind of really just looking into it at the end of 2015. Again, this is the same time the hubby had gotten laid off, so we wasn't sure, whether he was going to find work, what his income was going to be, and all that stuff there. But so I had the entire 2016 to pretty much save for whatever we decided to do as our big family trip and everything. And 65 was about what I estimated at the top of 2016 that we would take home after taxes and all of that jazz there. So moving on. First thing I decided on was the budget. How much could I afford to spend? And then how much was I willing to spend? Now, just because you have $5,000 doesn't mean that you should spend $5,000. And it's likewise, just because you have $2,000 doesn't mean that you should spend $2,000 on your trip, vacation, or what have you. So I decided first what the budget was going to be, how much we could afford, and then how much I was comfortable spending. Once I had that number, I moved on to choosing the port. Now the port is where you would deport from. So for us, being that we live here in Houston, we really had only 2 options. It would have either been Galveston, which is like an hour away from us, or New Orleans at about 4.5 hours from us. So I allow convenience to pretty much weigh out that. It just makes more sense for us to leave out of Galveston versus driving all the way to the other side of the world, if you will, to New Orleans to leave out on a ship when we can do so from our backyard. So budget was set, and then I chose the port. Now, once the port was set, I had to go in and kind of look and see what dates would be convenient for us to be cruising. Now, 4 kids, obviously the kids are in public school. I don't homeschool my kids, so I had to take all of that into consideration. Now, keep in mind that when you cruise, no matter what cruise line you cruise with, just like with anything, there are certain times of the year that things are more expensive. So summertime is a high demand time. Everybody's looking to travel in the summer, so you're going to pay a lot more. Spring break is the same. Winter break is the same, and so on. So I had to look at all of that, take all of that into consideration. Now it came down to either going for the entire week that the kids would have been out of school for winter break, which is Christmas break, or going towards the end of November, which is around Thanksgiving, or the top of December. So I kind of weighed out everything, looked at the prices, compared things, and for me, I chose to go the top of December, which would mean the kids would miss a week of school. Now, before anybody get their panties in a bunch, I do me, you do you. Let's leave it at that. But I do not disregard education by any means. However, and I shouldn't say however, it's my choice. The kids, I emailed teachers, got with the counselor way in 2016. You know me, you know I plan. In 2016, and verified if anything they would be missing around that time. And honestly, it was just all going to be reviewed as all the kids in our school district is leading up to finals at that time. So they were not going to be missing anything pertinent, in my opinion, and the opinion of the counselor and the teacher that said it wouldn't be a problem. Moving on. All right, so moving on from there, we have our budget, our port that we're going to be leaving out of, and then we have our dates already set. So now it was time to pick which cruise line we were going to cruise with. So I looked at the few options that we had, but because of the fact that I had the budget, the port, and the dates already set, that pretty much already winged out a lot of the other cruise lines that that we would have options to sail with. So based on what was left is where I made my choice of what cruise line that we were going to sail on. I looked at the fact of what experiences that we wanted to experience with the kids and what would definitely give the kids an overall, you know, fun-friendly kid vacation while also giving us some adult leisure time and all of that stuff there. So we decided to go with Carnival, which worked out beautifully. We actually did Carnival back in '08, the hubby and I, for our anniversary. No, for our honeymoon. And we enjoyed it, and Carnival has great reviews, and I have heard so many things over the years. Great and not great, but again, it was our choice that we decided to go with Carnival. So that's pretty much it. Now let's kind of get into the most important part, and that's the money and how we got all that going. All right, so since we knew this was going to be a Christmas gift for the kids, I pretty much already had half the budget kind of set to the side, if you will. Now, I have a Christmas budget that we budget out for each and every year. We put certain monies back throughout the month to cover Christmas, because again, Christmas is not an emergency. It is no surprise that it's coming, right? Okay, moving on. So the budget that we went with for the cruise was $3,000. The budget I typically would have for Christmas is $1,200. So $1,200 minus $3,000 is $1,800. So that meant that I needed to save an additional $1,800 on top of the $1,200 that we typically save. You coming in to get something to eat? I'll put that up. Go ahead, baby. That we usually save. So $1,800 is what I needed to save, and what that amounted to when you divide it up by 12 months, altogether was $250. Now, because we get paid weekly, basically a paycheck comes into the home each and every week, I was able to divide the $250 by 52 weeks. So that meant I needed to save roughly $60, $65 each week to put back towards the cruise. So see, when you take things that may seem a little bit huge or overwhelming and break it down into smaller bite-sized pieces, it makes it a whole lot easier to swallow, if you will. So again, my budget was $3,000 for the cruise. That's what we can afford and what I was comfortable with spending. I already had a budget of $1,200 that was calculated into the yearly budget for Christmas. So that means I need an additional $1,800. And I added that in, leaving me at $250 for the entire, for each month throughout the year that I need to save. And then breaking that down even further on a weekly basis, that was roughly $62, $65 a week. So durable, very much so durable. So that is how I did it in a nutshell, how I decided to plan for, or not decided, but how I planned for the cruise. And again, I started in 2015 kind of looking at things and thinking about if we did a cruise, where we want to go, how much money we want to spend and all that stuff there. And then from 2016 all the way through, I saved money for it. So I had the money saved for the cruise for an entire year. Now, just to give you a couple little tips, when you go in to book your cruise, no matter, well, for what I understand, pretty much all cruise lines kind of work the same. You would put down a deposit. So because I had the money already set when I booked the cruise in July, I had the money for the deposit already. So I paid the deposit, which was $49 for each person, paid that. It did come, I want to say October is when the full payment was due. So they give you a few months and you can pay on like a payment plan if you needed to. Now, because I had all the money set there already, I just did the deposit just in case something happened. I didn't pay for it all at once, but come October, when the final payment was due, I went ahead and just took the money out of savings, moved it to checking, called in a Carnival, and I paid for the cruise. Simple as that. So guys, if you have any further questions for me on that, leave them down below and let me know. If not, I hope I helped. Let you see that, you know, it's not, when we look at things like cruises, just travel in general, you can get overwhelmed, especially if you're already living on a tight budget. And if it's something that you have not experienced, have not been part of your lifestyle, traveling, getting, out and seeing the world and all that stuff there, it can definitely be overwhelming. But no, guys, that you can pretty much afford anything. It's all about priorities and how you budget and handle your money. That's my opinion on that. You can't afford everything at once, but you can afford pretty much everything, if you will. As always, guys, be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe if you have not done so already. And until next time, guys, stay full of bubbles. Stay true.